What's going on, guys and gals and whoever else happens to be checking out this video right now? I'm Jeremy and movies are terrible, and I've got a special and different video for my channel. It's actually not a super different kind of video, but it's different for here. Actually, I've done a tier list with my guest that is joining me today, Holden Hardman. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thanks for having me on, Jeremy.
It's always a pleasure. And help me out. What did we... Oh, I know what it was. You can find an MCU tier list.
Long time ago we did that.
It's been a while. I don't know that both of our tier lists wouldn't have changed between now and then.
Yeah, it would be interesting going back and looking at what we rated. There might be some minor changes, but... Oh, and another thing that you and I kind of compromise on stuff, like where if I thought something was A, you thought it was kind of C, we'd sort of compromise in the middle, or...
And I think we're gonna do a bit of that today. So basically I've put together a tier list system here that we're gonna try out. There's plenty of margin for error here, but let's hope for the best. I've compiled a list of about 45 influential, iconic, well-known filmmakers. By doing 45, there's inevitably gonna be an assload that aren't on the list, but you saw a lot of them, right?
Yes. I saw him when he first sent them to me, I think maybe a couple weeks ago.
It's a fairly comprehensive list. I'm gonna post it down in the description so you can see which ones we're choosing from, but what Holden and I are gonna do is we're gonna randomly select 10 of these directors, and we are going to arrange them between S tier and D tier. Each of these 10 filmmakers, one of them's gotta go in S, one of them's got to go in D. So if we've got the best 10 filmmakers of all, Holden, you're going to have to put one of them in the D category.
Yeah, this is a new strategy to tier list that I haven't seen before. Because usually, like, if they're all great, you could just put them all at S. So you're forcing us to fill all the brackets.
It's important to me that even if we're talking about all great, that somebody gets designated being less great.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to end up sort of inevitably boiling down to nitpicks at that point, assuming we get a list of 10 that are all greats.
So here is the list. I've got all 42 filmmakers on here, and I'm just going to click to spin. Holden, can you see it?
I can, yes.
All right, here we go. Game show style, baby. Big money, big money, big money. Give me a James Cameron and... Dude, come on.
Wow.
Come on. Let's go.
Wow. You rigged this? There's no way.
That doesn't look good at all, does it?
That's a 1 in 45 chance.
I'm gonna remove him from the list and spin number 2.
All right.
Say a name out loud. See if it happens.
Stanley Kubrick.
All right. Kubrick, let's go. Quentin Tarantino.
Wait. Oh, okay. It's right on the line. We got some good ones. This is good.
Yeah, it was right on the line. Holy crap. I didn't know which way that was actually going to go.
Luckily, the computer just tells us, or the site just tells us.
Yeah. All right, here we go. And here is our third selection. Give me a Robert Denis Villeneuve.
Sam Raimi on there.
All right, fourth pick. Here we go. All right, we got a Stanley Kubrick. Oh, Peter Jackson. Gonna take him off the list. Fifth pick. Steven Spielberg.
Very cool. So we're getting some pretty, these are pretty good ones here. Of our
all
45.
heavy hitters so far.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got next. So far, all A-tier filmmakers are gonna have to get separated.
Christopher Nolan. Jeez, man, we're getting... I'm pretty sure they know the spin thing knows who these people are, and they're just giving us the big ones.
Just to make it as difficult as possible. All right, let's see. That was 6. We are on number 7. We're almost home, baby.
Come on, Ron Howard.
Ron Howard. Kevin Smith. Got a Robert Rodriguez, I think.
Robert Rodriguez, okay.
Pick number 8. I feel like we found one kink in the chain so far. Oh, is it?
Sam Raimi.
Is it Sam Raimi?
Man, oh my gosh.
All right, here we go. It's a stacked deck, and here is our 9th pick. Ooh, right on the line again.
Snyder or Zemeckis? That's Zemeckis. Yep.
Beloved filmmaker Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah.
Responsible for such films as Back to the Future.
Yeah, that's... I don't know if I want to do this. It's tough, man.
Final pick. Who do we got here? Give me like a Joel Schumacher. Actually, I can't speak ill of the dead. Alfred Hitchcock. All right. Little-known filmmaker Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was thinking of maybe going in the order that they're presented there, like Alfred Hitchcock first, Nolan.
Well, I mean that kind of is it, right? We go Alfred Hitchcock and S tier.
Oh, we're just right off the bat, Alfred Hitchcock S.
I don't know, man. He's the first one, and I don't know. What do you think?
I would put Hitchcock A tier. Is that blasphemous to say? He's a great director, and he revolutionized like the horror genre. I mean, he made it what it is today.
I have a feeling you're saving the S tier for Sam Raimi, dude.
I'm actually not. I can acknowledge my bias, and I understand that to me personally, he's made some amazing movies, but I can also look at it more objectively, and I can understand that there are directors that are generally viewed as better than him. So while he's at the S tier in my heart, but maybe compared to others, I can acknowledge maybe not as high.
Okay, so let's look at this another way, and I think if it's not Hitchcock, we got to go S for Spielberg, right?
So
Steven Spielberg.
Just so I can understand what we're doing, because we have 10, are we wanting to put 2 directors in every category?
No, we just need 1 in each. That's the only criteria.
A total of 5.
Wow.
Okay, I understand now. Okay.
I mean, for me, it's clearly Steven Spielberg or Alfred Hitchcock. But if you have strong feelings that one of these are better,
no, I understand. Okay, I got you. All right, let's put Hitchcock S, Spielberg A.
Ooh, all right.
You know what? I would take. People aren't gonna like this. My feelings on this. I would put Christopher Nolan A, Spielberg B.
Oh, that is a controversial take. I'm going to accept that for now. We might come back and reconfigure things, but we're just going to kind of get our preliminary thing set up.
What about Zemeckis? Oh,
this is tough already, dude.
Oh, what about Tarantino? Oh, my God.
It's so brutal.
I hate this.
Okay, what are we ranking these people by? Our favorite films or how good of a director they are, I guess, is important.
I'm trying to do both. I mean, so for instance, Denis Villeneuve. How do you say his name?
Denis Villeneuve?
Yeah, so he did Blade Runner 2049, Arrival, Sicario, all great movies. But I guess compared to, like, in the ring that he's in, I would probably put him at D tier. If using your parameters established for me. He did some movies. He did Dune, Incendies, Enemy, Polytechnic, Next Floor,
great.
Maelstrom, Cleopatra. Okay.
Arrival. I mean, like right now, I would say he's my favorite filmmaker. They're all working, so I guess that's even difficult. He's one of my favorite filmmakers in the last 10 years. As much as I love him, dang, dude, as much as I love him, can we say Robert Rodriguez goes at the bottom of the list?
You want to put Rodriguez down? I'd be comfortable with that. I'd be comfortable putting him there. And that's only because of the weird, like,
the conundrum that I've put us in.
As far as Denis, it's Denis Villeneuve. I'm not as familiar with his work, and what I am familiar with, I didn't think was like the greatest thing ever. Like I thought they were good movies. They were good high budget movies, and that's kind of where they leave me at. But that's just my opinion.
Okay. Okay, we'll start with them in C. James Cameron, dude. Terminator 2, Aliens, Avatar, and 5 more Avatars, and The Abyss.
These last 5, how do you want to handle these? We're going to put them in S, A, B, C, and D as well?
We might as well, yeah, because we could just so easily put them all in S and be done with it. So let's do what you said.
Okay, in that case.
This is so damn hard.
In that case. So let's say we're going to do 2 in each category. We have to do 2 in each. I think that would make sense, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, in that case, let's do... No, what about Cameron? Let's do. Oh God. Oh man. I look at Cameron. I look at Tarantino. Zemeckis. They're all. This sucks, dude.
It's so hard. Zemeckis, as many freaking bangers as he has, it's very difficult not to put him toward the top of the list, even though any one of his films on his filmography is not my personal favorite. I know people love Back to the Future.
Yeah, I do. I love Back to the Future. Okay, do me a favor. Just put Cameron at A for right now.
Yep. Does that mean Jackson goes at...
Honestly, I would put... because I have to, because of these parameters, I'd put Jackson kind of lower as of right now.
Yeah, I agree. He doesn't have the kind
King
of
Kong.
film... yeah. Yeah.
Tarantino... You know what? Let's put Nolan... This is just me. Feel free to disagree. I would either put Nolan or Cameron alongside Hitchcock at S. I would put Tarantino and maybe Tarantino or Spielberg at A and work from there. I'm just trying to get my, who are my two top?
Did you say...
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I can live with that. Spielberg at B. I'm not going to put Raimi lower than B. So Raimi's at B for me.
All right, fine. All right, let's take a look at this.
Okay, all right.
S tier. Oh my God, dude. This is insane. S tier, Alfred Hitchcock and James Cameron. A tier, Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino. B tier, fucking Steven Spielberg and Sam Raimi. Kind of forgot who that was for a second. C tier, Denis Villeneuve and Robert Zemeckis. D tier, Robert Rodriguez and Peter Jackson.
Yeah. Honestly,
I have fundamental problems with this whole thing. How about you?
We can't publish this because of what. But honestly, given the parameters, I would love to see how other people would arrange this. My justification: Alfred Hitchcock, classic. He basically created the modern day. We would not have modern horror movies were it not for him. Straight up, the ingenuity of how he did camera shots. There's that classic shot in Psycho where it's on some sort of dolly or some sort of rig where it follows him up the stairs, goes above, follows down. He invented, or maybe not he personally invented, but he was the one that pioneered modern filmmaking technique.
Yeah.
And his movies were good. James Cameron, Titanic, one of my personal favorites. Terminator, Aliens, Avatar. The guys
really pushed the industry forward as far as technology, developing cameras, IMAX, all that kind of stuff.
But this is a director tier list. On top of all of that, he still makes great movies. So they're both of the. It's interesting. Both of our S tiers are innovative in the film industry, aside from being directors. So that's interesting. A tier: Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino's not for everybody. I haven't seen all of his movies, but everything I've seen, I don't know. There's something. There's like a. Is it that Artur word? There's you can tell it's Tarantino.
Yes.
And aside from language or whatever, it's just the way he tells his stories, and they're always really enjoyable. Christopher Nolan, obviously did the Batman stuff, but his movies like Tenet, Inception, they're all just fantastic. Memento. He likes to do those mind games and stuff, and still make an entertaining film for a general audience, which is a hard balance to do. I don't mean to take over the explanation. Sorry, Jeremy.
No, you're good, man. I agree with a lot of what you're saying. And again, talk about pioneers. Christopher Nolan worked very hard to, preserve film as a medium. Quentin Tarantino did The Hateful Eight that he released in the old 70 millimeter. So a lot of these guys are just such pioneers. When you look at the B tier, we've got Steven Spielberg and Sam Raimi. For me to speak to Steven Spielberg, I mean, he's the king of the modern blockbuster. This guy is responsible for all of the big budget tentpole type movies that we see. They say Jaws is the first of the blockbusters. Right. So, and he's able to work in two different realms and do it very well, from his more family-friendly fare, things like E.T. or something like that to the other end of the spectrum where he's doing Schindler's List in Munich. The guy is very versatile.
The Color Purple, stuff like that.
Yeah. What do you think about Sam Raimi?
Sam Raimi for me is up there. Again, another pioneer of the horror genre with Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, mixing genres, horror, comedy. Gave us the modern superhero movies. You could maybe argue X-Men, but it was really Spider-Man, I feel, that was that next level. And Spider-Man 2, still to this day, considered not only the best Spider-Man, but one of the best superhero movies in an era of MCU and multiple superhero movies coming out every year. To be able to retain that title for many fans is incredibly impressive. Kind of like with some of the others, he did Oz, The Great and Powerful. It's kind of like an okay, whatever sort of movie.
Yeah.
He produced some sort of that weren't all that great, like Crawl, which you and I watched together. Spielberg kind of feels kind of like he's in that sort of Denis Villeneuve, whatever.
Good enough.
Where he produces, like I feel like he had his peak with the Jaws era. And some of those movies, let's see what else. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jurassic Park, these classics that again still hold up to this day. Also has some like kind of not as revered in his kind of later career. The Post, great movie, but in terms of general audience appeal, not as big. BFG, Bridge of Spies, Lincoln, War Horse. Just kind of I don't know, stuff that is good, but not. It's no Jurassic Park.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, he got old, I guess, is a fair thing to say, because his later stuff is way more in that dramatic realm.
But to his credit, he's at a position where he can make whatever the heck he wants, and I respect that.
Fair.
I get that.
That's fair. For me, Denis Villeneuve is a kind of a bold filmmaker in that he's trying to make huge budget art house films. He's a risk. He's a gamble. I feel like he's making is similar to Christopher Nolan. I believe they're kind of in that same space where they are very intellectually interested filmmakers, and I do feel that Denis Villeneuve works very well with actors, which is something that I could say maybe Christopher Nolan doesn't get that part as well as other directors do, but I think his movies have heart, and they're also able to be very bleak at times while still having a little bit of hope, other than Sicario and Prisoners, which are fucking bleak, oppressive, and dark movies that are actually also incredible. So I really, really like this guy. I would say Blade Runner 2049 is probably my favorite movie of the last decade.
Wow.
Any thoughts on him?
Yeah, he's probably the director I'm the least familiar with of this entire list. I never ended up seeing Blade Runner 2049.
So good.
I saw Arrival. I thought it was good. I liked the idea of the whole language, way that they went about that visually. Excuse me. I didn't end up seeing Sicario. Like, I feel like a lot of his movies are movies that I'm like, oh man, I really should have watched that, and kind of go on with my day. If I was more familiar with his work, it would probably be different. So I hate to give him that disadvantage to be so low, because I haven't seen it, and what I have seen was like good, but was the extent of it.
So Zemeckis is on the tier list right underneath Spielberg, but I think it could be argued that the two of them are responsible for most of the quintessential beloved movies of the 1980s.
Yes, yeah. Zemeckis is another one in that kind of Spielberg era where he did Back to the Future, he did Forrest Gump, Castaway, Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
It's crazy.
Because of the tier list and the rules that are set up for us, we have to look at the entire career. We're looking at movies like The Polar Express. You and I have talked about this. I know a lot of people, it's beloved. I didn't like it. He did The Walk, about the guy that went across the two towers. He did Welcome to Marwen. I thought was okay. Beowulf. Let's see. He did a Pinocchio movie, Monster House, Gothica, Mars Needs a Mom. So some kind of like just ones that were, for me, misses or just good at the very least. Produced King Kong, which is a Peter Jackson directed movie. So over the course, like, he had his heyday where he was like the heavy hitter. Kind of later on, he makes good movies, I would say, comfortably.
Yeah. In the D tier list, Robert Rodriguez has made some of my favorite movies And I really can't sit there and in that same breath pretend that he's on the same level as a lot of these filmmakers. He's a crafty filmmaker who worked with a micro budget to bring us movies like El Mariachi.
Yeah.
Desperado's kind of a return to that same premise with a better cast and a bigger budget. And Desperado, the mix of the music and the shootouts and everything, that's one of my absolute favorite, coolest movies. But then you also, as you mentioned before we started, you got to look at Spy Kids. You've got to look at some of his low points, like Once Upon a Time in Mexico was not my favorite of that trilogy. He did Machete, which is fun, but it's kind of trash. And then more recently, he worked with James Cameron.
An Alita Battle Angel,
Yeah.
Which was a good movie. It
was.
Sin City. I remember there was a period of time where Sin City was like, people really liked it. I always thought it was all right. I never was like all crazy about it. I can say though, as a kid, loved all the Spy Kids movies, man. I was all about that. When you're talking about director up there with Quentin Tarantino and James Cameron, I would say because of the parameters of the list, he fits comfortably at D.
Yeah, he's, to be honest with you, he's the one on this list I'm the most comfortable with. I think it would be interesting if you get a minute, Holden, I'll send you all of the different elements and maybe you can just throw your own tier list together, snap a picture of it and send it to me, and at the end I can just say Jeremy's, Holden's.
Dude, honestly, I kind of agree with where the tier list is at right now.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right. I am so, I was just thinking about it selfishly. I'm like, God, I want to just put Steven Spielberg at the top of that list so bad. But anyways, it's tough, guys. It's tough. And as Holden has mentioned, I put out a couple of different parameters to muck it up even more. But before we wrap this thing up, we do got to mention Peter Jackson. And as much as several of the filmmakers at the top of the list, I believe his work with Weta, what he did for the industry in New Zealand, just the attention that he brought to New Zealand and the natural beauty of that place. He is a incredibly accomplished filmmaker. The Lord of the Rings is probably the single greatest, in my opinion, single greatest trilogy of all time, but the rest of his filmography just doesn't stack up.
Yeah, Peter Jackson is one. Lord of the Rings got like either the most or tied with the most Academy Awards.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. He comes back, does the Hobbit trilogy. They're good, but they're not up to that level. He does King Kong, he does Mortal Engines, which was attempting to do the next Lord of the Rings, and didn't. And it's just because of his whole filmography that, in comparison with the others, that he has to be down there.
Yeah, it was a tough one, and not only would it have been difficult no matter which 42 we chose, we literally got some of the biggest and the most influential filmmakers of all.
Yeah, honestly, we could rearrange some of this tier list and make a case for them to belong higher, like any one of them,
Yeah.
So.
As you mentioned earlier, you guys that are watching this video, leave your tier list down in the comments section. I'm sure we're going to be criticized regardless of how we put this thing together, and that's okay. Yeah. That's all right. That's definitely part of it. I'm sure your list looks different than ours, and we are going to celebrate each other's differences and your subpar choices in a director tier list. Holden, thank you very much for coming by and doing this with me, bud.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on here. This hurts. This video hurts my soul, man. Thanks for having me be a part of it.
Good. That's what I'm here for. And you guys, if you enjoyed this video, take a second, click the thumbs up button. It really helps the channel and helps us get out there in front of the algorithm. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the terrible content, all you got to do is subscribe, click the bell to enable notifications, and then cross your fingers that those notifications actually come through. Until next time, and on behalf of both me and Holden, be terrible. Peace.